Oh man, look at that. It's Friday. You're not riding your bike.
It's Thursday, isn't it?
Tomorrow, I tell you don't ride on Fridays.
No. I gotta go into work and then quit, and then exit interview.
Quit.
So I
Oh,
already,
you got your exit interview tomorrow?
I already server muted Dumpster. I'm sick of hearing him already. I'm joking.
Yeah.
You're quitting your job?
Yeah, I got a new gig.
What'd you get?
Remote role.
Big company or?
Yeah, big company.
Oh,
Somebody
that's
actually
awesome.
does their accounting right, hopefully.
Oh yeah. You don't want to work for my company then. We kind of don't do the accounting right. We abuse software cap.
Yeah, man. The
Yeah,
expenses are like understated by like 15%, and it's like, oh, it's no big thing. What?
we do some crazy shit, man. Especially like capitalization stuff.
Oh
we
yeah.
used to count PP&E as labor, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. No, we did that shit here too. It was like, how the hell is our capex going? You know?
Yeah, no, dude.
Capitalizing everything. They're just putting all the hours to projects, and it's just like, dude, you can't do that. It's illegal as hell.
Yeah. We got audited by PwC, and these guys are like, yeah, man, it looks great. And then I asked one of the head controllers there, I'm like, oh, why is PP&E labor? Like, why do you amortize assets? Like, and they're like, what? I'm like, you guys not catch that? Wow, what a bad candle on yes, guys. Oh my god, I should have shorted the fuck out of this. Whoa. Okay, all right, well, let's start, guys.
Didn't you swing 4200s?
I have 4200s, I have 4250s. I have a flurry of contracts.
Nice.
Yeah, I got played by the 4280s only to see this shit dump right now.
I got clapped today.
Oh yeah, I didn't get clapped. I made good profits, a couple of trades, but then 4280s, I was being an idiot. I was being like the guy with the, I guess it's the stock back beyond or whatever it's called.
I had a sell order on SPX like $10 below the ask. I didn't get filled, and then it went south.
No, yeah.
Yep.
Well, we'll get them tomorrow. Be patient.
Yep.
Let's see. So, this was actually Q2, so we have POC. So I was just looking at, the volume profile. I looked at it from the bottom to the current. I mean, obviously here, once we lose, this level here where I said short below, the 4250 is a little bit safer entry than 4259. But, we could take a stab here. If you break this 4259, you're also breaking this. I would call this here probably head and shoulders. I don't know how many people agree or disagree with me, but you guys know how much I care. Let's see. So when I look at it, I mean, just this way, to me, this looks like a pretty good head and shoulders, right? I mean, hopefully everybody can see it. What did I pick here? So something like this, right? I mean, to me, it looks, even though this right now here, I don't know, this looks close to me right now as a head and shoulders. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm watching this 4259. I won't get on it at that break. Probably get it at 4250. But I'll watch, of course, the 4259, see if you get a bounce or not. And then the volume profiles, if you looked at them today, not a lot of, the weird distribution of volume here. So the prior day we had I would say, it's like a lowercase b in this case here. You had a lowercase b here. The value area made a lower low. Now we opened above the value. We went above the value area high, and then we closed above it, and now we're back inside the previous value area here. I'm thinking if we are able to hold this, and it seems like if you take a look at it here, that we're holding that level right here. My area, value area high is just shaded. If you need me to, I can add these little guys. It can help. So if you look here, this is our value area. We had 1, 2, 3 candles, and look, I would expect if you're going to go, that we're going to go to 42.63 right now, which would be the value area prior. Either we go to the bottom of this one, which is 42.72 right here, and this level today, you guys saw how well we defended it at one point. We dumped it, we went up, and then they defended the hell out of it the whole day. So I would expect these levels to be hitting very soon, 42.72 and then 42.63. Depends where we open. I think there was some news about Apple as well. Security breaches are probably going to be the next topic because all the security companies are going to beat down. So we'll watch 42.50 for short. Obviously, that you have the 4,300 here. I would probably not take it until it reclaims the highest value area high of this whole run. So if you look at this, the whole run value area high is right here. What's that telling you if they're rejecting this? Somebody besides Dumpster and Catching Rockets. Come on. Yeah, so the buyers are basically not finding any value about it. If they're not finding value about it, what are they going to do? They're telling you the asset's overvalued. So if the asset's overvalued, how do you find a new buyer? Remember auction, right? If a guy says going once for 50 and nobody wants to buy it, I mean, either he's going to lower the price or he can't raise the price. If he can't find the price of 50, a buyer at 50, he's not going to go to 55 to find a buyer. He has to go lower. So here they went lower. They went here. Supposedly some buyers were interested. They're like, yeah, we'll go inside. And then they rejected this POC here almost perfectly a few times. And now it's like, okay, well, maybe we'll find value here. So we're watching 42.63. They found value here before. And they, ran it up to the previous value area high here multiple times. So we're watching this, and if they close below this value area, and let's say we get in right here, what I'm talking about, 42.63, if they get in this value area here, it could really, really give us a nice dump because this volume profile carries zero weight here. So even if you guys just grab it from here, what is this, August 10th to here, you'll see how weak the volume profiles are. Once you kind of break right here below this guy here, which is 42.34, you almost have 30 points drop instant right here. So it's going to accelerate between these little skinny zones, and you see here really tiny low volumes, a little chop in between. So we'll watch this. Any questions on ES though? And if you looked at, let me just kind of go back on this screen here, just so you guys can see that. And if you looked at the daily candles on this, why is it sinking all of this here? I guess it's gonna sink. I'm gonna show you the daily candles here if you guys can see it. This candle right here, does anyone know the name of this candle that I'm trying to circle? This one right here.
Is it Gradestone?
Hammer,
Yeah,
Morningstar.
This is a Gravestone Doji, man. So usually this candle signifies, a reversal, a bearish reversal. And it doesn't mean it happens, like most people like see a candle like that and they're like, man, it's going to go down. It's a bearish doji reversal candle. And they happen a lot. So if you look here, there's one right here. We can find them. There's a hammer hanging in here. I just saw another one. You see it here. It doesn't mean it's going to go down, but eventually this level, if you kind of map it, this level becomes fairly important. The top of it and the bottom of it, they become important. And it can take time to play out. Look here. They broke it, held, broke. And what happens when you break the resistance? You come back, touch it, come back, touch it, and you dumped literally from that gravestone doji a few times. So I'm not saying anything. I'm just telling you to pay attention to this level here that we just drew off of that gravestone doji here. So which was kind of like 42.59, right? I mean, so that's why I have that level there. I'm just gonna watch it and see how we play out. A 42.50 easy short, and then I would want it above the value area high to go long. But if we find some bounces, maybe around 42.50, we potentially play the first bounce. If we see some support and breadth indicators confirming like Advix, so I'll watch it tomorrow during the day. But in terms of just taking the trades, these are the levels that I'm watching kind of here tomorrow. And today's high, let me make sure it was 42.96. Yeah. So this is where I expected that actually to reject. If you guys looked at does anyone recall the elevator picture? It worked out pretty good. Those 42.80s dropped 10 cents and then they went to 120. So they went almost 1,000% in like 5 minutes. And yeah, they ended up being worthless.
Yeah, I had it at 20 cents, was hoping to capitalize, and then just cashed out at 50 or something.
I mean, that's still not bad. That's 120%.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a scratch off.
Yeah. Let's look at NQ. Gonna remove a bunch of shit here. And sometimes it's good to just kind of look at this on like a chart like this and just like see the price action, right? You made a lot of higher highs. You have some support right here being built on this line. And then I told you guys about this gaps thing. Indicators. Actually, I was looking for something to find the gaps, and they have a technicals new indicator that helps you find the gaps, like you see here. Let's see. NQ supposedly has 0 gaps. I know. I don't trust this tool now. There's no way we did not gap up on NQ. Well, NQ, I'm sorry. I guess we wouldn't gap up much on NQ. It's on futures. I thought I was on Qs. So, I mean, if you look here, you had a kind of reversal candle here. You also had a hanging man here. So these are kind of like reversal candles, right? So if you look at the volume here, the volume started picking up. Not a lot of green volume here. And then I usually tend to look at stuff on 3 days for kind of like swings. Does anyone know what this could be once we close this 19 hours? If this candle comes up to here, what do you guys see this candle as? Maybe bearish engulfing, yeah, but I'm not pointing to the full close. It could be kind of like a bearish piercing candle, right? So we'll watch that, guys, see what they do. I think NQ is more inflated than ES, actually. And the reason why I say that, so this is our COVID high. So this is our COVID high here. It's we are right now currently, I'm just gonna grab it and go here. We are 41% higher than the pre-COVID high. And if you guys look at ES, I think it was less, if I recall. Maybe actually the same. 26%. So I think at least NQ has about 10-15% from here for sure. So I'll kind of watch that and see where we go.
Hey, Shorty.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to find out? I noticed when you go back to the bottom of the candle and you look at the volume, you've got a lot more volume below than you have up top. Is there a way to find out how much volume that is? So when your volume up top is basically all worn out, theoretically that should be when it drops.
What volume are you talking about? Sorry.
Go down to, I think it's what, June 15th or something, the bottom of this run.
Like right here?
yeah, like you see this candle here, or uh, let's see. Actually, you got to go. It's when you had it on June, like June 15th, just the run up. You had the volume of essentially what's assuming that they're buying low and selling high. They need to get rid of all of it, what they bought, to drive it down. Isn't that theoretically how it's going to work?
Well, and you can tell that here. So if you take majority of the volume, I'll put it right here. If you take majority of this volume up to, let's say, here, and count the red candles versus green candles, just simply count how many we got, right? Would you say predominantly here, green versus red?
Yeah, I guess specifically what I was asking about is the run up. If you go to June of 2022.
June 2022. Okay.
Yeah, this run up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
and when you did a volume on that entire from then until now, it looked a lot heavier on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
So that's buying. So if you sell it off, wouldn't I expect to see equal weight almost up top before return?
Yeah, that's the part. But that's the part that I'm not. Maybe I'm not understanding. What do you mean equal part on the top? Like right here?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you notice when you see the other run up, you get a big, huge. You get a lot of volume sell off, and it's like I feel like shouldn't we have a higher amount of sell off up top before we start tanking?
Oh yeah. No. Now I get what you're saying. Yes, I don't think these big boys are back yet. I don't think the hedge funds are fully back to trading yet. I think this run up is also very light on bullish volume. So if I look at this, volume here on the green side, it's not very strong buying here. When I go relative, what is this gap? If I look at this gap ups and even relative volume for each candle, right? I mean, the lowest volume here, pay attention to this one. Lowest volume here out of this cluster of running up is the biggest green body candle here, is it? So the lowest volume, biggest candle, that's an anomaly.
Yeah, that's an anomaly.
Yeah, and then you have, I would say maybe this is the second biggest candle, and it's bigger. The volume is bigger here than the previous candle, but this one has a smaller body. That's another anomaly. Right? And then here, as you're approaching the supply, right? I would say this is supply right here before we take off. I would say so. Well, yeah. Well, now it looks like I'm cheating here, but okay. Let's say it's here, just so it doesn't look like. Now you pay attention to these candles. The volume's getting bigger, but the body of the candle is getting smaller. Did you read Anna Cooling on VPA?
Yeah, I did, and that's why I'm asking. But that's why when I'm looking at this, I guess for us to drop, I just thought we should have a bigger volume at the higher price.
Well, and maybe they're not done driving the price up. Maybe the big boys are giving and letting go off the brakes, and they're like, yeah, no, if you can, by the time we're in Bahamas or wherever we are, if you can push it a little bit higher, that's great. Just keep pushing it. And if they can push it up to here for some reason, then, you have to find where the right supply is. Where's the seller sitting to be offloading? And maybe it's not these levels that we're thinking they are. Maybe it's somewhere around here, 14.5, 14.4 on NQ. But yeah, I get your point. But this bullish volume is also not very, confirming. So that's the only reason why I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's not a lot of liquidity being, added here because it's mainly driven by retail, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure if there's a correlation. I would think that I would see a larger volume up top when they start selling off, but I'm just trying to clarify that. Maybe it doesn't always show. I don't know.
So let's revisit this level. So revisit volume discussion. once we break 13,000. Let me know how the volume is here. Because remember, what kind of sellers and buyers do you have? What kind of sellers do you have? What are their names?
Retailers trying to get out of the.
No. There's two buyers and sellers. What are they? You have the responsive
and aggressive.
and initiative, aggressive sellers. Okay? So responsive sellers might be getting in here right now. So if you look at this, this is a perfect level for them to get in. You know, you're hitting the previous, which was support. Now, this is your first revisit to the resistance, right? So now, these guys are being responsible sellers, right? They're like, man, good, I'm good with the money here. I'm just going to close it. Where do you guys think aggressive sellers might show up, or as we call them, initiative sellers?
On the break of the trend?
Well, yeah. So if we break this value area low here, right? I mean, if you look, so this is our value area low from this dump here to current candle. If this is our value area low, and they're like, okay, well, you know, 68% of the volume is associated right here. If the 68% of the volume is in here, and I know once you're out of the value area, right, the price is going to accelerate. You guys know that. You should know that by now. Every time price gets out of the value area, whether it's a daily session or a big session like this, right? This session spans from November 1st to now. Every time you get out of the value, there's no volume. This is thin volume here. That's why it's not highlighted with the 68%. So initiative sellers are literally like sitting right here. It's like, okay, come on. Bring it below 13,000 so we can show you that we can drive this bad boy all the way to 11. So they don't need to fight here. Initiative sellers are not here. They're going to be here waiting on the break of the value area low. Once they break this, watch the volume accelerate. And they did it, you know, multiple times here. What do you think about the volume here, for instance? You see here, you know, if you look at this distribution that happened here, you would say there's a lot of green volume, and then there's some, you know, two candles that went above here, but then the volume here wasn't big, was it? I mean, it's nothing huge. These candles are getting smaller, but that's the initiative sellers. They took over, the sellers' pressure took over, and then they're able to accelerate this. So if I was to grab this and just kind of see where the value area low was on this candle to here, oh, look at that. Once they broke this value area low, they showed up. You know, we came back for a retest here, and then they literally took over. Whoop, dump it down. So you have to understand how to look at the volume a little bit. They're not going to make it so obvious on the volume bars on the bottom, hence why we use the volume profile to tell us what they're trying to do, right? So initiative sellers are waiting here. I guarantee you, once you break this level of 13,000, this bad boy goes all the way to 11, potentially all the way to 10. Because here, this is responsible buy or sellers right now selling. And it could be that there's a hedge fund like or somebody, whoever's managing ETFs, they're like, okay, well, we'll take some position here. We'll kind of go back to a 2-year, 10-year bonds and, you know, make a little secure nest for our investors. So you can expect that, right? But no, I get your point, but it's not that straightforward. The volume anomaly is here, but it's really well hidden as we went through it, right? You have a big candle, small volume bar. You have to look at it more in micro level instead of the macro that we think it would happen.
Could you grab the volume of the last 3 candles?
This right here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
we can grab what
not that one. The 3 candles. Yeah, the ones above the line.
yeah, we can grab this. Yeah, that's 3 weeks of data. That's a lot of data. So we probably have to go on like 65 minutes. See it. Let me see. July 31st. Yeah, this is it. Yep. So those 3 candles POC is at 13.2. And right now, you see where the value area high is. And look where the bounces are. These are your responsible buyers trying to protect their long positions. So now, if you're able to dip through this, which is a psych level 2, 13.5, I would say that's a pretty good level for shorting. So you can decipher it into more details as you wish with the volume that we got.
Thanks, Shorty.
Mm-hmm.
Shorty, can you really quickly show how you trade like a bull flag, for example?
Yeah, I do a little bit differently, but yeah, I can.
No, I know. So I'm specifically, somebody asked like how you trade, and so I was trying to explain it through text, but it's just, it's a little difficult.
Yeah, so let's say I'm just gonna this one. Let's delete Andy for a second. I don't consider this to be a bull flag, but let's see. Let me go like 2 hours. Fine. This is good for mine. Okay, so maybe this one right here. So if we had a bear or bull flag here, we're just gonna draw a parallel line. I usually like to buy, and maybe this is not the cleanest example here, but that's pretty good. I usually like to buy, if it is a bull flag like this one here, I usually like to buy on the bottom of that bull flag instead of breaking out on the top. Because I know that this reward here is going to happen. So if they push it up and come back, I'm still profitable. And my stop loss is usually when I get in here is probably the next closest previous low that's available. So in this case would be somewhere around here. So I play the bottom touches of the bull flags up. And then, if you play the bear flags, you do the opposite, right? So sure, we had some, let's see. So here, this one here, if you guys look at it, so this is your bear flag. So I personally, you can definitely short this. There's a rule, right? You can short the top of the touches. You can play the breakouts, or you could, play the breaks right here, or the retest here, drive it. I like to get in on the top, and then drive it to the bottom. And then I have this reward, which I know the buyers might show up like they did here. Or I can, trim my position here, and then once the retest here, I can re-add again right there. That's usually the two plays that I would take. I would, usually when I'm scalping, I'll take this, get my 20% here. But, if it's a longer time frame, like dailies or whatnot, or something like this, 2 hours, I usually tend to play this, and you guys know the reasons why in this chat. So I like to play retests more because it gives me the targets for the, where can I take profits next. Okay. Hopefully that helps.
Thanks, Shorty.
So NQ, let's see. So we're going to watch that 13.5 level for downside. And if I recall this, maybe I'm wrong, but there should be a lot of repocs here, guys. Yeah, there's a ton. Once this starts dumping here, if we break this 13.5, we have some support here, right? I mean, you have, have support at 13.2. I would say this is a pretty good support, 13.3. So I'm not saying that we're going to dump all the way down, but it gives you a chance that you're going to go to this level all the way on the bottom here. And, this double XPOC, you cannot ignore it. So 13, I would call it 13.2 once you highlight it with the area. And you had a little bit of a demand here, 13.1, nothing strong. And then if you wanted to measure this, right, let's say I want to know this run up here, just grab the run up. We're playing the trend, right? And look what happens here. So this tells you this, I didn't count this volume here. And even if I just pick up these 2 days right here to see, it's probably going to be a shelf right there at 13.1 and right on. That's the level that we were after. call it 13.2 on a good day. And then you see, you have a little skinny belly and you're coming back right into this. And that's why we mark these levels, the closest one visible to us. You see that the 13, this is your range where you want to be kind of closing your short side right here. You want to be getting out here. I don't know why is this whole thing highlighted green here, but because yeah.
Hey, Shorty, I apologize. My grandkids were just leaving, and did you do SPX?
Not yet. I rarely chart SPX. I usually do ES, and I play SPX off of ES levels.
Gotcha.
SPX is just a derivative.
Okay, buddy. Thank you.
Yep, they don't drive price off of SPX volume or anything. SPX just goes off of SPY and
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, so we don't care too much on the chart.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you said why would you chart ES levels for SPX rather than charting SPY levels for SPX?
SPX doesn't have shares. Like I can chart SPY or ES. I prefer ES because it's the most liquid inventory, like vehicle when trading. This is the highest. NQ and ES are the most liquid investments ever.
Even though SPY and SPX move the same exact way, you wouldn't rather chart SPY?
You can chart SPY. I just prefer ES levels are more powerful than anything.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
At least that's how I trade. But this level here is going to be deadly. 2x POC right here, and if you draw a little, if we come back to this area, show any weakness, this is your easy short. This guy here, I would love for them to pump it here and make a lower high compared to this one. That'd be great. But this seems to be the level where we're going to be kind of coming back here. So you have 13.3 first. I'll probably mark that. That's a pretty good level here. If we break this, 13.5, we probably have another 120 points. I think this happens tomorrow. I don't know. I think this happens tomorrow. They pump it here and they drop it 100 and something points tomorrow. Maybe even to 13.3 here. Would not be shocked. 150 points. We've been running forever. We've been running from 10,000. What is this? 11,000 to almost 4,000 points. So it would not be that bad. So I would play this kind of symmetrical triangle, lower highs, higher lows. That means symmetrical triangle. If it's flat top, equal highs, higher lows, that's an ascending triangle. And then equal bottoms, lower highs, that'll be a descending triangle. And here you could make a case for a descending triangle too. If you put this POC, if you guys are kind of visually looking at it, right? So you guys see it. So we have a lower highs and then kind of equal lows, and that's the level of 13.4. So we keep bouncing on. So we kind of make that case as well. If you're fairly aggressive, I'll probably take a long over this shelf here. Once you're able to clear this shelf, 13.586, we have a chance to go higher, right? And then you see the value area high being there. So, okay, let's see, famous SPY. This just looks like a penny stock. Pretty bad. So we had a bad candle there on 8 hours. Let's see how we. And here's your gaps on SPY. So you do have a gap here. So 416, and we haven't been back to this level. So, $11. Remember that gap up that we had from like 412 to 420? So that, if you can gap up that much, you can gap down as well. So I wouldn't be shocked if we come back to this very soon. And then, as you guys know, we're going to check, see where the buyers are. So the highest concentration of buyers, obviously, we have some buyers right here in this area, which is kind of weird, right? Considering that we had the gap up. So it could be that there were so many buyers here and that they just pushed it through. So let's see. Anything above, in this range, probably going to be a trap, honestly, here. So 410 is a critical level. I guess it's 410.20 will be really, really important level. So I would probably round that to 410. And then you guys see here, what is it, 425.17? Does anyone know?
High volume node.
That's one of the things. It's also monthly mid on SPY. So on our clouds, you will have monthly mid here. If you guys recall, didn't I tell you 2 days ago that that's going to be a bounce anytime it became close to it? And here goes, we dipped a little bit, they reclaimed it and popped it up here again. So you guys see here, this level is your support. So once you break it, you can wait for the retest and kind of go down to see where we're going to go. And we could probably go here.
I also remember you talking about from 411 to 412. It was a strong.
What is it?
I remember one time you talking about from 411 to 412 on SPY that was a strong where the buyers were.
Yeah, so we'll get these levels. Let's see which ones you're referring to. So we have, I'll call these major levels here. And this is our big boy level here. And then in between, we'll put some levels as well. So we have 413, and then you get a little bit congestion here, and you guys see we accumulated in this area. So as we approach this area, I'm probably looking to kind of start closing down the puts towards the 410 area. It doesn't mean we're not going to go down more. It just means that we might get a bounce. I don't want to be holding puts as we bounce. We're getting a little tight here. So, I mean, 425.50 breaks, we really open up the doors, and you guys see where your value area high is on this. So this is your, if you're not in a trade, you do not want to be trading in this little area here, 426, 425. That dollar here will act as a bounce, as a resistance. You want to break this below, and then we get a little bit of nice movements on SPY. So I would probably play the breakout of this level here to the upside, whatever that level would be, call it 429.5. Just know that you should probably get out within 50 cents here if you wait for that, or wait for 430 and you have 435, and then obviously once you break this here, we'll really open up. Once we break this, it's going to really open up the gates for pushing higher. But, if you look at it, it looks like a bull flag. Right here, let me just hide these gaps. It looks like a bull flag here, so can't deny it. These will be the key levels that we go off of tomorrow. Okay. So probably you could go long here, 428, 429.50 from here to here, and then you have the most recent high here. So you could play the break here to here, get out, to here, retest, go here, retest, go here. And then, obviously the break of 422.5 will be the shorting level. Okay, CQs. A nice little bear, nice little intraday or 5-minute bear flag here. Is there any speakers tomorrow by any chance? Does anyone know? There should be some speaker. 5 minutes. We have a little compression up, so probably come back and revisit this area, which we did already once. You guys look here. We came back to that area once, and now we're back to this demand here. Probably gonna bounce right here, and we did. So we need to break this below and then come back to this level, 326. So we have $3 here once we break that. Good look at that. We never filled this gap here. There's a nice little area here. What level is that?
Yeah, you got 3 VPOCs right there.
Yeah, I assumed it would be heavy here. Let's see what we got. So 30 minutes. Yeah, there's a bunch here. Probably put it, I'll probably just grab it from here and see how it looks. And that's it's pretty big. That's a pretty big shelf. It almost was POC itself, and this one took over right now. It looks like we're coming down. To have this type of volume here, and this looks like, it really opens up right here below 327.46. I guess this will be our short. Yeah, that's a pretty good short here. And I'll probably scale out somewhere where you're talking about here. I'll look to close it down here somewhere. Probably first trim right here. That's not bad. $3.03. I would take this trade in a heartbeat tomorrow. And then obviously once we break this guy here, we're gonna clean up. So this is a little shitty zone right here. And then we start cleaning up below 319. Most likely we go to value area low here. And then once you break this 315, man, you guys are seeing it as, same thing I'm seeing. If you lose this guy here, once you lose that guy right there, you really don't have anything till 307. You have $8 drop here. This is a really good reward here. And then if you're really risk averse, just wait for this guy here to clean up, and then you have $5 reward. See, there's a nice little trend line here. And then, we broke this one. 30 minutes. Yeah, so we'll watch this tomorrow. We'll short it below 327. And this right here is, you guys remember the PowerPoint, the training? You guys recognize these two? like, okay, maybe this one is good, but this one here, right below a key resistance or support level right here, you have a hammer candle. Do you guys recall this one from PowerPoint? Anyone? This is nasty. So they gapped it up. Did they fill the gap? Not yet. So let's see what they do here. This is a really nice candle here. All right. Who wants Tesla? I guess. Bean. When is this split? When is it effective? Does anyone know when you have the shares by? It splits the 20. It has to be this week that you have to own the shares. Somebody can find out. I think it should be the 19th. Right? Dumpster? It needs a week in order to. "24 hours after splitting." Oh, okay. That recording day is what I'm after. Is the 17th. Oh,
Yesterday.
oh shit. Okay, well, I don't expect Tesla to dump just because people won't. Whoever is there, they're not going to sell it. But so think about it as, the sheep and the wolf. If the wolf knows you're going to hold on to something or go somewhere, what is the wolf going to do? Is he going to wait to eat, or he's going to eat while you're waiting and hoping? I don't know. I mean, it looks like a nice rounded bottom here. If we break 945, that'll be the level that I go for. That was a nice cup and handle here. But I would be very cautious now. In my opinion, and I know people, whoever will hate it, this is the Netflix of 15 years ago. It's just that this market is going to be so heavily saturated right now. Every car company, I mean, and Tesla, in my opinion, they don't, people say they're a tech company. Okay, well, just tell me what else, what is it that they produce that's really tech? And I'll gladly have a discussion with you. And you can't bring up SpaceX because that's not Tesla. So let's see. I'll probably, I mean, if we break this here, I think it's 900 level that we were after. Yeah. If you break this 900 level, which is very close, we have chance for a dump. And even if you look here, if we break this, I would probably look to get out somewhere around 881. Even if you do volume profile, there's a shelf there, I would call it. There's 885, there's a shelf. So you have 15 points, pretty much free money here. If we Yeah, it definitely looks like a cup and handle. That's what I was saying. It looks like a cup and handle. I would just warn you, these things don't play out like that. I don't know if anyone here was and in the Discord, and I talked about this, but here's your Apple major cup and handle that we had way back. I was waiting for this to break out, and look what they did. Whoop, they popped it over, brought it back. Of course, they didn't dump it all the way, but it took time. In January all the way to July to play out. So you have to be a little bit cautious of this. Usually, as I mentioned a few times, as you guys should be aware, where's your entry? If you're talking about from here, right, your entry is not here, right? Your entry is not here. Your entry is right here. So you would have gotten this, and your first exit would have been here. And that would have worked out well. I mean, you grab it at 137 and you get out 157. Pretty good. And then that becomes support, and then they dump higher. And then even now, I think this level is pretty relevant here. What is that? 157. And this looks very overextended. And they just got some news in about security breach or whatever. But this does not look too healthy here, in my opinion. Okay, so I would say, you know, once you break this 170 level, you're pretty much a toast here. And how would we check the buyers? Here you go. You know, once you break 167, this is where you can expect some buyers to show up right now on Apple.
You got some
So yeah, buyers.
crazy people there at 174-ish.
Oh man, I feel bad for these guys here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if this breaks right here tomorrow, you could short it. The better short would be on the bottom of this shelf here. So 171 to 170 probably happens, and then if you get, you know, I have some puts for Apple, but they're further out. I have 170 puts, but it'll come back. They'll be profitable. And then we have a little gap here, which will be filled. And then obviously you guys see where the POC is. And we've never retested that POC, so if you go on the screen, you will not find many of these that are not retested here. So this would be a good spot again to, you know, nibble at some shares, but not really go heavy. Because what do you guys notice about this demand here? Relatively compare it to previous supplies. Okay, so let's think about it this way. If this was our kind of break of structure right here on the downside when we were coming back down, is this the supply that caused the break of structure right here, this imbalance right here, right? If this is the imbalance that created it, and this is the supply that created it, and you go back to a demand, in order for this to be bullish, you would want this demand to be breaking out this supply here. If you're not able to break the previous supply that caused the imbalance and the break of structure to the downside, well, what does that tell you about the supply and the sellers?
The supply is not very strong.
The supply is super strong. The demand wasn't as nearly as strong.
Oh, I'm
as
sorry.
the supply.
Demand's not strong. That's what I meant to say. I apologize.
Yeah. So this is, you know, this is really, really important right now. And I was waiting for this to hit 175, and I added some puts, but I'll keep adding them because I think it's going to go back to like 130. So unless they announce a car on this next, whenever their event is, then it's going to get smoked. But from the risk perspective, this is it. I'll probably get out somewhere over here if we were to, you know, break 178 or so, and then I'll close my puts. But other than that, we still got time. All right. What about Amazon? I really want to short Amazon. This is looking really juicy now. I love Amazon. So here, if you guys look at daily here. So if you look at the daily, right, we haven't been able to, you know, kind of go here. You guys can see what I'm talking about. So we had a lot of trouble with this level here, 144, and you guys know, I've shown you here multiple times what this level is, right? Does anyone know on top of their head what this level is? Why it's so important, why it's failing to break it? Dr. Red, why is it failing to break it? No, not all-time highs. I mean, 146, definitely not all-time highs. 199 is all-time highs. You guys remember this?
That's that consolidation here. My bad, man. I wasn't even looking. That's that range.
So if you
We
guys
got
recall,
extended.
this is where the distribution happened, right? So we're coming back to retest the distribution, and now when you look at the daily candles, I'll give you weekly first. This is a perfect short entry, guys. This is ideal. You have a bearish volume anomaly. You have the first candle here. You have a small, really small volume, fairly decent size, body, the body of the spread of the body, right? Then you have a pickup in the volume and, really big body spread. They dumped it and then they pushed it back up. And then, as you're getting closer to the supply, what do I always tell you? What do you expect to see?
Wicks.
You expect to see wicks, but what else?
Volume's dying down.
Okay. What else?
Candles are getting smaller.
There you go. Candles are getting smaller.
All of those things.
So all those things are happening. So once we break this 140 here, we really open this up to dump. So definitely can short it here below this. And then if you pay attention to the dailies, right? So just from here to here.
It also has bearish full sends on like a bunch of time frames, higher time frames, like 2 hour, I think, 4 hour.
So now you look at this, right? A lot of people call this kind of like a bull flag, right? How many of you guys would call this a bull flag here?
Not me.
Come on, look. Not a bull flag?
No, sorry.
Okay, so if it's not a bull flag, what is it?
Is that an ascending triangle?
Okay, well, let's look at the volume here. I just grabbed the volume of the upper hand, and look what happened here. We went above it. We went above this POC, and look where we rejected even today. Probably make this a little bit higher. I think that's good. Look where we rejected today, multiple times. So tomorrow, I mean, this is fairly easy for tomorrow. If you want to go long, just break the 142.70 and you get about $1 upside to 143.5. And then if you really want to play aggressive, I mean, just look at this right now. You break this, you're going back down. You have $2 on Amazon tomorrow, free money. Right here. And then if you add, for shits and giggles, add the range today, right? So your range was 140 to 142, what is it, $2.50. And you guys see, what do you guys notice about the ranges here? Let's look at maybe a few more days. I'll hide this guy. What are you guys noticing about the ranges right here between the days? So look at this range here to here, $6, 144.
They're getting smaller.
They're getting smaller. What do you expect when something's doing this?
Dump. It's squeezing. It's getting tighter. Well, it's gonna go one direction or the other. It's gonna rip or dump.
Yep. So you just play these levels. You can play this to the upside, play this to a downside, and then if you go on something like maybe 65 minutes, you'll kind of see where we are, right? Same levels, still pointing to the same levels we were talking about, 142.78. And then if you're able to break this trend line here, you could probably play this right here. Now let me remove this guy because it doesn't make sense. So And you guys know I'll probably wait for this break on the downside and short it right here. 141 all the way to 140, maybe 70. And then the break of 145 really opens the gates for this guy. So when you look at the whole run up, so we had multiple bottoms, and we know why that happened there. There's really not much volume, besides where we're getting kind of like a distribution right now. So once you break 139.81, you're almost guaranteed to get some money here. 137, and then it gets a little weird price action. You don't want to be caught in some of this. Once you break this level here, it really opens up the gate to fill this gap all the way to value area high at 125. So you have $10 drop here on Amazon. So remember, we gapped over this. You guys see that this is our resistance, right? We gapped over it. Did you ever come back to retest? So most likely what we get here is we go here. I mean that. We get this here. We probably come back to this level here. Retest, go here, kind of bounce, and then break this, and then literally some kind of news come up here. So I'm thinking first week, maybe September or something, we'll get some news on Amazon or market overall. All right, what else do you guys have? I think Meta. I was looking at it. Yeah, Meta will probably have it 156. Even that go along to 175, that worked. Go along to 175, work to a penny. And Drew, you said there's some full sends. Is there any like bearish ones anywhere, like major ones?
Oh, I mean, I was talking about Amazon. There's a bunch of bearish full sends on Amazon. There's MU, Amazon, BA, Boeing. Those are all on higher time frames. I haven't looked today, but none of those played out from yesterday.
Should be a bounce on oil tomorrow. Right here. Probably shorted below 60 here. Pretty sure there's support in here. Let's see. Ooh. Yeah. Probably gonna get rejected here tomorrow. So. Man, this one looks super tight. Yeah, it's getting super duper tight.
I posted something about the clouds yesterday too. I forget what it was. Some stock was at the monthly top, I want to say.
Oh yeah, this is easy short right here. What is the CMB? So you have this one. So the buyers will be here. $98.53, and the whole thing right here is the buyers. Once we lose this 95 for 56, this becomes really good play here. $4 right there. They'll probably bounce in some fashion here, 93, but nothing crazy. Maybe a retest, come back down, and then value area. Then this would be where we go long. Not a heavy demand zone, but for options, this is you go long. My shares are still ordered at $61 sitting there. So I'm probably gonna reject here right now. All right, guys. I think that's it for me. I'll catch you guys live tomorrow, so we should do pretty well.
Thank you, Shorty.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right.
Good
Thanks,
night.
Shorty.
Reject.